Welcome to Wilson's Wild. Hey, how's it going? Today I have a pretty cool knife to show you. This is the Ka-Bar Becker BK2, a very beefy knife, a very rugged knife, and one that has an extremely thick blade. I really like thick blades for various reasons. It does depend on what you're going to be using this for. But I think this is a great batoning knife, a great kind of all-around knife. It's not going to bend on you. Very, very thick blade and made out of 1095 steel, which is a great choice for any knife you're going to take out into the field. So the BK2 was designed by Ethan Becker, but it is manufactured by Ka-Bar. These are made in Olean, New York. At least the knife itself is. The sheath is made in Taiwan. And like I said before, a 1095 carbon steel is great. They label it as a cro-van steel, which is a term that I'm not completely familiar with, but that is what they call it. The hardness is a great hardness. It's 56 to 58, which is perfect for a knife that you're going to be bringing out into the woods and really using it to its fullest capability. The handle, it's a type of plastic. They have a term that they call it, I've actually never heard this, ultramid, which you know, it's a very high quality plastic. It's probably not going to give you any kind of problems, and definitely any kind of corrosion. That's going to be a complete non-issue. The weight is listed at 1 pound. That's with a 5 1/4 blade and a 10.5 inch overall length. And again, one of the main features of this that I like a lot is the fact that it's a 1/4 inch thick. For such a short blade, that is very beefy, and you can use this to pierce and chop and slice, baton, you name it, and you're not going to have too many issues. It can be fitted with another handle material. These scales, they do come off very easily. Just remove that. You can make your own handle. You can get some aftermarket handles. And so if this look, the all black look, isn't something that you're into, you do have some options. I've seen some people who remove the powder coating, which I can understand why. I'm not a huge fan of powder coatings. I know why they're there, but they just get scuffed up. And so removing the powder coating, replacing it with a wooden handle, you can completely change the look of this knife. And also has a section back here which I saw is listed as a window breaker. I'm sure there's plenty of applications you can use, you know, for this, but it does have a little section of steel that protrudes out the bottom of the handle, so you can have a impact surface. You know, you can hit something and break it if you need to. So this knife being so rugged and having such a thick blade gives me a lot of confidence that I could not only use this for chopping and slicing and, you know, typical applications that you'd use a knife for, but it has such a thick reinforced tip. You could probably pry with this thing and have very few issues with it and not have to worry about the tip bending or it chipping off. Anytime you're going to be driving this into a piece of wood or in the ground or whatever you're prying at and using it as a tool like that, you do put a blade at risk. But if you do have to use a knife, this is a fantastic choice because it's just built for that kind of abuse. All right, well, we're going to test this knife out, and I'm going to start with something with a test that you might not see with a knife of this length. I'm going to try to chop with it, and we'll see how this goes. Knife versus wood. All right, we tried a little bit of chopping with this bad boy. Now I'm going to try it on a bigger piece of wood, and we're going to try batoning with this thing. Very nice. I'm impressed. All right, now we're going to do a little bit of whittling. It's kind of a big knife for whittling, but I figure it would be a good test for it, because sometimes as you get into these thicker blades, you compromise that ability to really shave wood efficiently. So let's see how this works. All right, well, not the best performer at whittling, but considering everything else it can do, I'd still say it's a good pick to take out into the field. One thing that I do think is very important to talk about is the sheath. You know, love it or hate it, it has some features that I think are pretty neat. First off, it's labeled as a hard nylon sheath, which means you're not going to have any problems with any kind of water issues like that. It's not going to rot on you, and it's pretty durable. It has all these spots, all these holes here, different methods that you can put paracord or some kind of cord through that, and you can tie it to your pack. You can also put it obviously on your belt with this loop here, but I do like how the screws allow you to take that right off. So if you're going to tie it to a strap on your pack or something like that, you don't have to keep this and it won't be in the way. The way that it actually locks into this sheath is pretty awesome. It does have this little snap here. It's a little bit redundant after you see how it locks in. Now, there's this section here to put your thumb, and it's there for a reason. That's because this thing does not want to come out. It does not want to come out at all. So you brace your thumb there and you push, and then it'll come out. And if you do that technique, it comes out fairly easy. Without it, it's a bit of a challenge. You're going to pull and pull, and then suddenly it's going to give. And I think it could be a little bit dangerous to draw a knife in that fashion. So to just brace your thumb against this little section here that they actually made specifically for that, it gives you a very controlled withdrawal. And I appreciate that, because it gives me a lot of confidence that I can have this thing, I mean, really upside down, and it's not going to cause me any trouble. Definitely a recommendation if you're going to, if you're looking for something, a good camp knife, something to bring out into the field, and you live in a very wet environment, like for instance, the Pacific Northwest or in the South or something like that. This is a great option because I wouldn't say it's weatherproof, but it's extremely weather resistant. The only thing you might have problems with is if this powder coating does scratch off on the blade, you might get some corrosion because it is a 1095 carbon steel. But aside from that, this is a fantastic option for wet climates. All right, the Becker BK2. You know, it has its drawbacks, but I'd say all in all, it's a very good knife. Very rugged, and once you get this thing, you're going to own it for a very long time, and it'll serve you well. All right, well, I think this is a fantastic knife, and I hope you feel the same, but I do want to know what you think about it. So why don't you leave a comment and then hit that like button if you enjoyed this episode of Copper's Reviews. I'll see you guys next time.